Today, I have the Trail Boss and ZR2 HD for 2025. Which truck is the better buy? I did borrow these trucks from Jerry Seiner Chevrolet here in Salt Lake City. If you would like to purchase them, they are available. Be sure to ask for Patrick or Keith. Let's go ahead and check out the pricing on these trucks, and then we're gonna go around them to see what's different. Starting with the Trail Boss, you guys can see that this is an LT trim. You can also get this Trail Boss package in an LTZ. So yes, it is a package down below for $2,895. Now it's gonna be probably more money for the LTZ, but here's everything that comes in this truck. So you have to take the standard price of $56,900 and then add the $2,895 there. And then in total, this truck with all the options is gonna be $79,510. The ZR2 is a little different because this is a trim level ZR2. And then here is the base price, $71,100. And this one has a diesel, power retractable running boards, and also dark essentials. A few other things listed here. Total price with destination is $86,235. There's no surprise here. The Trail Boss is going to be the cheaper of the two. Now, if you get the LTZ, that might bridge the gap a little bit, especially on the fact that this is a 3500. Now let's go ahead and unpack the front end of these trucks. This is all new for 2025, as I said, and they give you a great front end design. If you're tired of buying, you know, the same old LTZ or even a Sport Edition package that you can get on these trucks, they now have this one, and it gives you that black front grille with the black bow tie, and they give you a black bumper on any other color. Now if you get black, obviously it'll just be black on black, but I do like the setup of this truck. Red recovery hooks, you've never seen that on an HD truck except for the ZR2. And this one does have the front parking sensors, and I like the fact that they do black out the badging on the front end. You guys can see the cameras right there. Most of these things are an option, and they come alongside of that Trail Boss package, so just keep that in mind. But something I like about this truck is you have the black hood scoop, and they finally black out these badges as well. When you consider the ZR2, these trucks almost look identical. They really do. If you step back, you almost can't tell that the grills are different, but the closer you get, you can see that they do have a different grill design. They also have this red outline on the bow tie, and the trucks have pretty much the exact same recovery hooks, front parking sensors, cameras on the front end. Both trucks are going to have premium lighting as well. So when it really comes down to it, the only big difference on the front is really the grills. But you guys can see, this has the black essentials package, and they didn't black out these badges. That's crazy. Now I'm sure you guys can probably tell that these trucks have different ride heights, right? If you can't tell from the front ends, you can definitely tell by the mirrors. The ZR2 does have a different suspension, and it has a taller tire. Let's go ahead and talk about the suspension and the wheels and tires, and then we'll move on from there. There's nothing really special about the suspension on the Trail Boss. Unlike their half-ton siblings, they do have a 2-inch lift. This truck does not have any extra lift. So Rancho shocks basically come apart of the Z71 package on every other truck, and that's the same story here. You guys can see the upper and lower control arms are finished in steel, including the steering knuckle right there. Fabric material for the wheel well, and this does have an open diff up front. As far as the ZR2 goes, they do have the Multimatic DSSV, and you guys can pretty much tell that this suspension has basically 3 valves. And on this truck, it does have an 1.5 inch taller ride height, okay? And if you guys look, that upper control arm is totally different from the Trail Boss. Take a look. So you guys see the difference there? That upper control arm on the ZR2 kind of goes down, and so it's different around where the ball joint is right there. And they also redesigned the lower control arm on the ZR2 as well, including the steering knuckle. So all those things are different on this ZR2. So you can pretty much tell right there the differences on that lower control arm. And it's subtle differences on the steering knuckle. You can't really tell the difference. But the other big difference is the tires. So these are the Goodyear Wrangler Territory MTs. This is a 305/70/18. So this is basically 34.8 inches tall and 12 inches wide. So this is a pretty wide tire for sure. Now in comparison, this is the Trail Boss, right? These are basically 34.1 inches tall and about 10.8 inches wide, because this is a 275/65/20. So it's only 0.7 inches shorter in comparison, but you guys can see here, you do have a 20-inch wheel. And most guys prefer the larger wheels. On the ZR2, you're gonna have the 18-inch wheels on this truck. As far as the fender flares go, on the ZR2, they are wider in comparison. You guys can probably tell from this point of view how much wider the ZR2s are. Also, the mud flaps right here are a lot shorter in comparison. Now notice too, the door handles on the Trail Boss, they are painted to match the truck, smart key system. But on the ZR2, they do them in black. I mean, I kind of like that. Mirrors, there's no changes there. And I talked about the mud flaps in the rear. You see how much shorter they are? And these fender flares are wider in the rear too. So that kind of gives the truck an appearance of a taller truck, and I do like that. Now let's talk about what's under the trucks. Here's some of your skid plates for the Trail Boss. So they are finished in plastic, but you have one right there that is finished in steel. I didn't mention this earlier, but the ZR2 does have an open diff on the front. But you guys notice the skid plate differences? You have an aluminum one here, and it covers a lot more under the truck. Now, as far as the transfer case goes, there's your transfer case for the Trail Boss. So they do give you a skid plate right there. And you guys see where the transmission is? Nothing covering that. Let's check out the ZR2. Shockingly, even on the ZR2, you do not have a skid plate right there. However, they do give you a more beefed up one for where your transfer case is. Now, if you get a AEV Bison package, they do give you stamped skid plates that cover a lot more under the truck. But that's pretty much the differences under the body. Now, if you get a LT, they do not provide a wheel well liner, but the LTZ does offer that. And as you guys can see on this side, that comes standard. Now, here's the biggest difference between these trucks. On the Trail Boss, you can get it in a 1-ton, as you guys see here. Also, you can get it in a long bed configuration. On the ZR2, it only comes in a 3/4 ton truck, and you cannot get it with a longer bed. And as far as appearance goes, nothing really changes in the rear. They do give you a ZR2 badge on the back, which I do like, and they give you a decal for the Trail Boss. However, I like the fact they don't give you one for the ZR2. Now, as far as your spare tire goes, well, if you're someone who plans on truly going off-road, you don't want to be stuck with this guy if you do get a flat. You would like to have an original matching wheel and tire. And the ZR2 actually does give you a matching wheel and tire. So for the true hardcore off-roaders, that is the true benefit of getting the ZR2 if you really do plan on taking this truck off-road. I didn't show it to you guys, but you have the Multimatic on the ZR2, Ranchos right here. There's no differences on the powertrains, so they both come standard with the 6.6 liter gas V8 L8T, 401 horsepower, 464 pound-feet of torque, Allison 10-speed transmission, and the Duramax, which these trucks both have 470 horsepower, 975 pound-feet of torque, 10-speed Allison, 342 rear end. The only difference on the rear ends is this Trail Boss has an automatic locker, and this ZR2 has an electronic one. As far as the interior goes, the Trail Boss basically has the LT interior that you would see on a non-Trail Boss truck, and that would be the same thing for the LTZ. So here's the door, and then here are the seats. So 10-way driver seat. Now that passenger seat is manual, and these seats are not perforated leather or anything like that. So let's go ahead and check out that ZR2. So the ZR2 does have the jet black and gray stone interior, and they have this lime green stitching. This interior is unique to the ZR2. It has power front driver and passenger seats, and check this out. They do give you a ZR2 kick plate. On that Trail Boss, they just give you a basic one. And not only are the ZR2 seats perforated, they are two-tone, and they do have better bolstering to hug you better if you're going on the trails. I think that the lime stitching and the two-tone in this interior is like perfect as well. But as far as the screens go, there's no difference there. This truck is optional with the heads-up display. That LT is not available with it, but on the LTZ Trail Boss you can get that. I do like the animations that they give you for the ZR2. That one just has a Z71 badge for the animations. And as far as the interior goes, you guys can see cool seats do come standard on the ZR2. This truck also has electronic locker, so you have to lock it in place here. On that truck, as I said earlier, it is automatic. But yes, I think that if you are trying to spend the least amount of money, this truck might be the better buy, in my opinion, especially if you do truly plan on going off-road. Having the taller tires, having the more off-road oriented suspension is better. And I think that the interior is just slightly better over that Trail Boss there. And if you want to have more apples to apples, you would have to step up to an LTZ, and you're pretty much the same money with less features than this truck has. But as far as the interior goes out back, you guys can see you have the storage there. And as I said, nothing really changes for the interior other than what I've already shown you guys. They have your USBs over here and wireless charger for both trucks, USBs, 120 volt plug. And as far as your drive modes go, you have off-road and normal, and that's going to be the exact same for both trucks. And one last thing to mention, your seat memories and your power for your tow mode for the mirrors, that's not available for the LT, but you can get that for the LTZ Trail Boss. So you can see what's pretty much missing right here. And as I said, it's pretty much the exact same interiors. Now here's the biggest drawback to that ZR2. As I said earlier, you cannot get the ZR2 in a 1-ton. So let's go ahead and check out the numbers on the door. If you plan on towing a pretty big trailer, that's going to be a big deal. So gross axle rating up front is going to be 5,600 pounds. The rear is 7,250. And this is the Trail Boss. 12.1 is the gross vehicle weight rating, 20 by 8.5 wide wheels. And all-in payload is 3,811 pounds. You guys can see 20,000 pound conventional, and then 21.6 for your gooseneck. The ZR2 has a 5,600 pound gross axle rating, which matches the Trail Boss, but the gross axle in the rear is more important at 6,600 pounds, so it's a lot less. And gross vehicle weight rating is going to be 11,350. All-in payload is just under 3,000 pounds at 2,977 pounds. So yes, this truck tows less, has less payload. So if you want to get the ZR2 with more payload and towing, you can't, because it's limited to just a 3/4 ton. And if you were to get a Trail Boss and a 3/4 ton, it would still have more payload, because this truck is just heavier with the tires, with the extra skid plates down below. And I'm pretty sure you can get the max trailering package as well, so that will actually raise the gross vehicle weight rating and the rear gross axle for the Trail Boss, which makes this truck even more advantageous for towing a little heavier. So I hope you guys liked the video. As I said, these trucks are available here at Jerry Seiner. In the future, I will do a drive test with both of these trucks. I did mention in the last video I did on the Trail Boss that these tires are a little stiffer, so it does change some characteristics of how the truck performs. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that upload. See you guys soon.